Hey everybody, my name is Rick Schaff. Thanks for joining me. I wanted to talk with you guys about the secrets of light, sunlight that is. Over my studies of the human body, I've come to a theory of what are the main pillars of health. And in my opinion, I would say diet and exercise we know about. So what you eat, how you exercise, and then what you think, I think is another really strong pillar of health. And the fourth one, I'm coming to believe, is the mixture of light you put in your body every single day. I think most of us believe that the best way to create optimum health comes from a good diet and consistent exercise, and I believe that too. But I'm becoming more and more convinced that there may be something even more important, or at least equally important, and that is getting the right balance of light every single day. Could getting enough early morning light, midday sun, sunset light, and avoiding man-made blue lights at night be one of the biggest missing links in creating our best health? Jack Kruse is a neurosurgeon that I have been following for over a decade, and he is brilliant. In fact, that may be his biggest problem because he typically speaks beyond most people's comprehension, including mine at times. But I've never heard anyone make such bold statements about light and its miraculous effects on our overall health. Jack believes that sunlight has the power to regenerate your entire body, and that the overexposure of man-made blue light is the main culprit for making us both fat and sick. He also believes that getting the right type of light every day is more important to longevity than both diet and exercise. In a very simplistic way of trying to explain this, Jack says that when the light from the sun passes through our upper atmosphere, it creates a natural frequency at 7.83 hertz, which also happens to be the same frequency that our electrical waves in our brain run at. This is important. I'll get back to this point in just a moment. The next important thing to understand is what happens when sunlight at this frequency makes contact with water on Earth. It creates millions of free electrons. For example, rainwater flowing in a river gets hit with the sun, and the frequency of that light changes the water in a way that makes it just a little bit more dense. And that creates what we call structured water. The awesome thing about that is our bodies are mostly made of water too. So when sunlight hits our bodies, we get a similar effect. It starts to create millions of helpful electrons that are instrumental in running over 100,000 biochemical programs in our cells every second of every day. One of the programs it fuels is the powerhouse of every cell, the mitochondria. This process helps the mitochondria generate more water inside the cell so that everything in your body works better. Okay, so getting back to that 7.83 hertz. Our problem as humans is that we live in these concrete jungles, and we've created environments that are constantly bombarded by man-made EMFs, and that disrupts God's perfect design of the 7.83 hertz, and we've thrown off the frequency. As a result, we don't get enough of the electrons being made, and our mitochondria doesn't function as well. And then, of course, now we don't make as much intracellular water. Now, over time, we become dehydrated. And when your body is dehydrated, everything slows down and stops working very well. The sunlight going into your eyes may be even more important than the sun hitting your skin. When we look at our eyes, we find that we have abnormally high concentrations of amino acids in our eyes. And there is a specific class of amino acids in abundance called aromatic amino acids. These are like tyrosine, histidine, phenylalanine, and tryptophan. It's worth noting that the accepted nutritional theory of these amino acids is that histidine, phenylalanine, and tryptophan are not made by the body, and the only way we can get them is if we eat them in our diet. However, that may not be true according to Dr. Kruse. The interesting thing about this class of amino acids is that they are all designed to absorb ultraviolet light. And not only do they absorb the light, they trap it in these special type of boxes called benzene rings. Now the question is, why are we trapping light? And what are we doing with it? Well, biology tells us. The light is being used to make chemicals that act as precursors to influence biological pathways, regulate body functions, and alter our DNA in a positive manner. When light hits the back of our eyes, it starts a process that creates melatonin and nitric oxide. And it also sends signals to everything behind the eye, to the brain, and then beyond that. For example, it turns on the pituitary, and it also affects growth hormone and metabolism. So let me say that again. Light coming through the eye has a direct effect on both your growth and metabolism. This happens without eating food and has nothing to do with the gut. We're just talking about what's happening from light going into your eyes. There was a scientist by the name of Fritz Hallwich who proved this by removing cataracts from people and animals in the mid-1900s. He wanted to see what would happen if light came back in through your eyes. And what he found was mind-blowing. Every animal and every human got better. Their growth and their metabolism exploded. They lost excess body fat. They slept better. Their skin and their coats became healthier. Even their moods changed for the better. Hallwich also found a large increase in not only their melatonin, but in creatine, and other hormonal levels improved, which actually showed that the body was using light to make chemicals. And all this happened because light was able to go back into their eyes again. Okay, so now let's explore Jack Kruse's theory that blue light is making us both fat and sick. We learned how crucial sunlight is to our health. The next thing we have to realize is that this perfect process will be interrupted by the overexposure of man-made blue light like TV screens, computer screens, cell phone screens, which we all typically use as the sun goes down. When man-made blue light hits your skin, it shuts off melatonin, and that affects other hormones. Melatonin is a key hormone, and once it gets suppressed, every other hormone in your body gets thrown out of balance quickly. Here's what happens inside your body when blue light exposure occurs at night. Of course, we have melatonin suppression, and that happens really quick, like within minutes. Then that affects our cortisol, and it causes our stress hormones to remain elevated when they should be declining for sleep. We also get body temperature disruption, which prevents your core temperature from dropping to an appropriate level, and then that interferes with your sleep as well. Then we get growth hormone interference, and that prevents helpful repair and recovery processes we need. One other note is that all of these things will also hit you where it counts, in the testosterone department. Poor sleep destroys test levels. That's it. If you truly want to make sure you sleep well, then you have to do the following things. After the sun goes down, try to stay away from bright lights in general and wear blue and green light blocking glasses, especially if you're going to look at your phone, which everybody does, or you're going to watch TV, which a lot of people do. But make this a habit, and I guarantee you it will begin to pay off big time. All right, today the hot topic everyone is talking about is red light therapy, and they're right in theory. However, if your schedule allows, you can get a better source, and it's free. If your schedule allows, get the first 15 to 30 minutes of sunrise light, and the last 15 to 30 minutes of sunset light. Sunrise and sunset light are much more complex than any man-made light you're going to buy, and like I said, it's free. The light at sunrise is mostly red light, and this goes deeper into your body. It goes through your clothes. It has a healing effect. It turns on your pituitary gland and the production of hormones like cortisol, insulin, testosterone, melatonin, and nitric oxide. A general rule of thumb is that when your shadow is taller than you while you're standing in the sun, then you are getting the optimal exposure to red light and infrared light while being protected from UV radiation. Midday sun is also important though. Try to get about 15 to 20 minutes a day. It doesn't penetrate far into the body or through your clothes, but one of the main benefits of midday sunlight is that when it hits your bare skin, it creates vitamin D, which is actually a hormone, and it is absolutely necessary if you want to create incredible health results like ramping up your immune system and many other things it does. Sunset light goes back to more of that red light, and it offers even more healing effects. Once darkness sets in, your body begins to release the melatonin it produced from the morning red light, and this allows you to sleep, which leads directly to the next pillar of health: good, helpful, sound sleep. So many illnesses are linked to poor sleep. Being able to sleep deeply allows your body to do maintenance and autonomically repair cell damage. It reduces inflammation, and it further helps to restore your hormonal balance. Consistent sleep of 7 to 8 hours a night will make you better mentally and physically. And if you try to rely on sleeping pills or supplements, you're not going to get the benefits I describe above, because true health will only come from resetting your natural circadian rhythm. Keeping your circadian rhythm in check is more helpful than you might think for creating optimal health, because it boosts your immune system. It helps with hormonal balance, and it improves your mood. To learn more about the complexities and amazing benefits of sunlight, I would encourage you to listen to Dr. Jack Kruse on YouTube. The links to a few of his videos are in my description below. I hope sharing this information is helpful, and thank you for watching.